5 million years ago, the major Hawaiian islands began to form on the floor of the Pacific Ocean. As the oceanic crust rode over a hot spot deep within the earth, molten rock oozed from fissures, hardened, and gradually built massive mountains whose bases lie as much as 16,000 feet below sea level. As the Pacific Plate moved northwestward over the hot spot, countless eruptions over millions of years formed the Hawaiian archipelago, a chain of 20 islands and atolls stretching almost 1,500 miles across the central Pacific Ocean. The 8 major islands vary greatly in age and appearance. Kauai, nearly 5 million years old, is the oldest of Hawaii's 7 inhabited islands. Wind, rain, and the effects of man have eroded its land surface, such that few traces of its original volcanic topography remain. To the southeast are the progressively younger islands of Oahu, Molokai, Lanai, and Maui, whose huge dormant volcano, Haleakala, comprises more than half the landmass of the island. Farther eastward, the often snow-capped summits of the island of Hawaii rise above the trade wind clouds to heights of more than 13,000 feet above sea level. Known as the Big Island, its surface lavas are all less than 1 million years old, making it the youngest as well as the largest of the Hawaiian Islands. Its 5 separate volcanoes have grown together to form a landmass exceeding that of all the other islands combined. Kohala, the oldest of the 5, last erupted about 60,000 years ago. It is densely vegetated and dissected by 4 immense stream-cut valleys. Its massive neighbor to the southeast, Mauna Kea, is now presumed dormant, having last erupted 3,500 years ago. Farther south is Hualalai, whose summit rises above the resort coast of Kona. Although in a late stage of its development, it is still considered active. Its last eruption in 1801 sent voluminous flows down to the sea only 8 miles from the present-day town of Kailua. The 2 southernmost volcanoes of Hawaii are also the most active. Mauna Loa last erupted in 1984, sending lava flows within 4 miles of the city of Hilo. Kilauea Volcano, nestled against the southeastern slope of Mauna Loa, is one of the most active volcanoes in the world, having erupted over 30 times in the last 40 years. The current eruptions of Kilauea typify the developing stages of a Hawaiian volcano when much of its land building occurs. Each of the volcanoes in the Hawaiian chain, whether active or long extinct, at one time exhibited the eruptive processes seen at Kilauea today. Eruptions at Kilauea occur either at the summit caldera or from vents along 2 major rift zones on the southwestern and eastern flanks of the mountain. Both summit and rift zone eruptions are fed from a relatively shallow magma chamber about 2 miles beneath the summit. This chamber is in turn supplied by the much deeper hotspot about 36 miles below. Here, solid rock melts and begins rising towards the surface. Traveling underground, this fluid rock is called magma. It is only called lava once it appears at the surface. The most recent series of eruptions at Kilauea began before dawn on January 3, 1983. When a curtain of fire broke out along a 5-mile stretch in the middle of the East Rift Zone. Over the next 3.5 years, 47 high fountain eruptions occurred from a vent on the original fissure. The eruptions were characterized by short periods of vigorous lava fountaining that rarely lasted more than a few days. Over a period of time, Material thrown out by these fountains piled up around the vent, building a cinder and spatter cone 800 feet high. This cone is called Pu'u'o'o, or Hill of the O'o, after an extinct bird that once frequented the forests in the area. Lava from these eruptions flowed as far as 4 miles downslope from the vent, destroying homes and roads in Royal Gardens, a rural subdivision. In July 1986, a new fissure opened up about 2 miles downrift from Pu'u'o'o, and the eruption underwent a dramatic shift in character. Episodic high fountaining ceased, and a period of less dramatic but considerably more destructive activity began. The new vent, Kupaianaha, has since erupted more than 450 million cubic yards of lava, enough to cover a football field to the depth of over 50 miles. The lava flowed down the steep southern flank of the volcano, first reaching the sea in November 1986. In the process, the flows covered thousands of acres of native rainforests, portions of several subdivisions, a highway, and numerous historical sites. Residents evacuated the area as the flows slowly advanced, leaving behind homes, gardens, and farms that were eventually engulfed by lava. In early June 1989, westerly flows permanently cut off Royal Gardens and began a slow but unrelenting advance on Wahaula and Visitor Center. As the lava closed in on the Visitor Center, National Park Service firefighters sought to divert its advance by spraying the front with thousands of gallons of water. At first, the method appeared to be successful when a flow was stopped in the parking lot just a few yards from the building. On June 22nd, flows circled around from the east, eventually pushing a steadily advancing front under the building. When the water ran out late in the afternoon, fire quickly destroyed the Wahaula Visitor Center. Although the flows attracted a steady stream of viewers, many people were saddened by the destruction of a landscape so rich in cultural history. Although the Wahaula survived, Punalu'u, also known as Queen's Bath, a natural pool and long-time local landmark, was among the sites consumed. In February 1990, lava flows began moving downslope toward the coastal town of Kalapana. On April 4th, lava claimed its first victim. Over the next 5 months, the flows moved slowly through the town and along the coast, eventually covering the famous black sand beach at Kaimu. By October, the whole bay was filled in. Lava continued to flow into the area in 1991, and by February had destroyed all but 6 of the 111 homes that had stood there just a year earlier. Since this eruption began, over $100 million worth of property, including more than 175 homes, has been lost. Hawaiian volcanoes are renowned for their approachability. The recent prolonged activity at Kilauea has provided many unique opportunities for detailed observations by scientists from the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory. The characteristics of Hawaiian volcanism that make it so readily accessible are consequences of special properties of Hawaiian magmas. Generally, they are quite fluid and lack the large amounts of dissolved gas present in continental magmas, like those feeding Mount St. Helens. While explosive events are generally absent in Hawaii, lava may still be ejected from the vent with considerable force. Towering fountains result from the pressure behind a constricted flow and the expansion of gases within the rising magma. Great quantities of molten material can be thrown into the air during episodes of high fountaining. The lava expands and becomes frothy upon leaving the vent, forming products such as ash, pumice, cinder, and Pele's hair, which can drift downwind for great distances. Magma can also well to the surface much more quietly. Over a period of extended gentle activity, lava may pool above the vent, eventually forming an active lava lake such as Kupaianaha. In this case, lava can erupt quietly at the vent because much of the gas is released from the magma as it flows beneath Pu'u'o'o. Lava lakes develop as levees build up around a vent, preventing the lava from flowing freely over the ground and instead forcing it to pool. This levee is being built by spattering around the edge of the lava lake. Though partially hardened, the lava pond crust still appears amazingly flexible. At times, the level of the lake is high enough for lava to spill out. Over a period of months, repeated overflows from the lake form a broad, growing mound called a lava shield. Small lava shields are miniature versions of the massive mountains that form the Hawaiian chain. Lava on the surface of the lake cools to form a crust, much like the skin that forms on the surface of a cooling pot of soup. The movement of the underlying magma breaks this crust into plates that slide apart, scrape past one another, and collide in a complex array of motions. Many of these crustal movements are similar to the much larger motions of continental and oceanic plates, known as global plate tectonics. Here, for example, where magma flows to the surface, adjacent plates are forced apart and new crust forms along incandescent seams that zigzag across the lake. These seams resemble the immense spreading ridges that traverse the floors of the world's great oceans. Upwelling magma from these zones cools to form new oceanic crust. Destruction of the plates by subduction occurs when they collide head-on, causing one plate to slide beneath the other. On a global scale, similar processes are involved where the Pacific Ocean plate meets and passes beneath the South American plate along the west coast of the continent. Large volcanoes occur at these boundaries due to melting of the ocean crust as it is subducted into the Earth's interior. Many complex movements of lava lake crust have no global counterparts. Here, for example, magma wells to the surface to form an upper plate. As the lava thickens and cools, it presses down on the original crust, which breaks under the additional weight. As the broken piece quickly sinks, it forces up a new bulbous mass of incandescent lava. Small but spectacular fountains play across the surface of the lava lake due to the continual release of the dissolved gases in the molten rock. The most common gases present in Hawaiian lavas are carbon dioxide, compounds of sulfur, and water. Since much of the sulfur and carbon dioxide escapes at Kilauea's summit, water vapor is a predominant gas in lavas erupted from the rift zones. The collection, expansion, and release of gases near the surface of the lava lake results in spectacular splashing and spattering. Lava continually enters Kupaianaha from the bottom of the lake and exits as much as a day or two later through a large underground tube on its south wall. Lava emerging from this tube begins its downhill journey as a lava flow. Two very different kinds of lava flows cover the surface of Kilauea. The smooth or ropey skin variety, called pahoihoi, is typically more fluid than the clinkery surface type known as a'a. As pahoihoi flows move across the terrain, they cool and lose gas. Thus, lava that was once very fluid becomes very viscous and may change to a'a. The transition from pahoihoi to a'a is also influenced by the speed of the flow. The greater the velocity, the more likely it is to become a'a. The lava behaves much like taffy. When pulled slowly, it stretches smoothly. When pulled rapidly, it snaps into pieces. Once lava becomes a'a, it cannot revert to pahoihoi. Though lava flowing down the same channel may remain pahoihoi if its velocity decreases. Such a decrease may occur when a'a flows move from steep to gentle slopes, or when the flow fronts stagnate, creating a dam behind which lava may pool and eventually overflow. Despite its outward rubbly appearance, the interior of an a'a flow is very dense. Here, the massive glowing core is continually exposed as this 10-foot-high a'a flow advances. The front moves like a pile of rubble being pushed forward by a bulldozer, while loose material shoved to the sides confines the channel feeding the flow front. While pahoihoi flows may be temporarily diverted by natural barriers or even stone walls, a'a flows advance unrelentingly, overrunning everything in their paths. At times, pieces of channel wall break loose and are carried downstream, gradually enlarging like snowballs as they roll and tumble down the channelways. These accretionary lava balls are often perched along the edges of the flow or at the top of the levees, stranded there by sudden surges of lava through the channel. Other accretionary lava balls may be transported to the front of the flow, far from their point of origin. Some flows are speckled with hundreds of these lava balls. Channels form in pahoihoi flows because the flow margins cool more rapidly than the fast-moving center. Overflows resulting from surges or blockages build up the channel margins, contain the flow, and elevate it above the surrounding landscape. The surface of these stable lava channels may crust over, eventually forming lava tubes. The thin crust gradually thickens into a more substantial roof several feet thick. Because rock is a poor conductor of heat, these tubes insulate the lava flowing within them and allow temperatures in excess of 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit to be maintained for many miles. Tubes originating at Kupaianaha extend more than 7 miles downhill to the ocean. The ability of tube-fed pahoihoi to travel over much greater distances than surface flows has been an important factor in the seaward growth and gentle topographic profiles of Hawaii's volcanoes. Lava can be seen traveling through subterranean tubes when portions of the tube ceiling or wall collapse, forming a skylight or window. These openings act as vents for searing hot gases released from the flowing lava. They also allow volcanologists to collect samples and measure the temperature of the flow. A unique type of Pelly's hair may be seen at skylights, where bubbly lava stretches to spin long, thin strands of volcanic glass. Differing from the needle-like variety formed by lava fountains, its delicately interwoven texture resembles cotton candy. When channels break open or lava tubes become clogged, the confined lava stream within is forced out onto the surface. As the flowing lava breaks up its own earlier formed crust, pieces are rafted along. Curved, ropey folds are common on the surfaces of Pahoehoe flows. These structures are formed as the fluid interior of the flow pushes its cooling skin into folds and wrinkles. Such surfaces are frequently seen where a tongue of lava reaches the base of a slope or is blocked by an obstruction. The front of this flow rolls forward, much like the tread of a tank. As the flows pass through forested areas, they surround trees which burn away, leaving their impression preserved as molds within the hardened lava. The combustion of plant roots and other organic material forms methane gas that collects underground. After dark, the burning gases can be seen eerily rising from incandescent cracks in the cooling flow. Pockets of methane frequently become concentrated to explosive pressures under flow margins. Powerful explosions can occur without warning and are a considerable threat to the unwary. Upon reaching the coast, the lava enters the sea and the formation of new land begins. This is a complex process, influenced not only by the nature of the flows, but also by the submarine topography and the forces of the ocean. When lava meets water, processes ranging from gentle boiling to spectacular steam explosions can result. Here, gouts of spatter and huge sheets and bubbles of volcanic glass, called limu o pele, are blown into the air. Where the ocean is calm, small flows move slowly but steadily forward between waves. Generally, lava gently entering the ocean is insulated by its cooled surface layer, thus reducing the potential for violent interaction. However, if lava moves quickly into deep water and forms a submarine tube, large steam explosions may occur after waves splash into the tube mouth. Spatter and chunks of tube wall may be blown high into the air. Rivulets of lava flowing over cliffs and to the surf are quickly broken up and dispersed. Black sand produced from wave-shattered lava accumulates in pockets and beaches along the coast. Ocean currents have carried thousands of cubic yards of black sand westward to Kamoamoa, forming Hawaii's newest and largest black sand beach. Clouds of steam rise as the waves splash water into tube mouths and over the hot lava flow. Heavy surf pounding against the growing shoreline may shatter and tear the Pahoehoe as it emerges from tubes in the tidal zone. The material tumbles down slope with the retreating waves to form an underwater pile of rubble or talus. As flows move out atop this pile, they build a lava bench. Though the benches may appear to be safely approachable, many are often very unstable and dangerous to walk on. Some benches grow to eventually form new dry land, while others collapse violently back into the sea, leaving behind severed lava tubes and a boiling ocean. In this instance, a 2-foot diameter fire hose flow shoots out nearly 20 feet from the cliff face, precipitating large explosions in the shallow water. Although the land-building processes that occur above sea level are the most readily observed, those that take place below the surface build the foundation for the new land. Here, about 30 feet underwater, a tube-fed pahoehoe flow advances down the talus, forming pillow lavas. Today, in the saga of the Hawaiian Islands, the lava has prevailed, constructing more than 100 acres of new land since this eruption began. But in time, subsidence and erosion will prevail, slowly returning these magnificent islands to the sea. Although Kilauea Volcano is estimated to be as much as 500,000 years old, the surface of the mountain that is above sea level covers about 540 square miles and is made up of lava that is almost entirely younger than 1,000 years. The processes illustrated here have played a primary role in the formation of its landscapes and will continue to do so far into the future.